in this video, I'm going to talk about Robots.txt. What is Robot.txt file? What are its uses and what are its implementation? How we create your Robots.txt file? Let me explain you in this particular video. Hello everyone, I'm Shivani Goel. Welcome to WsCube Tech. So let's start with basic definition of our Robots.txt file. Robot.txt file is basically a text file that resides in the root directory of your website and gives search engine crawler instruction as to which pages they can crawl and index during the crawling and indexing process. What happened here? Let's suppose this is your website, and when your web spider visit to your website to crawl and index your information, in that case they first visit to your robots.txt file. In this particular file, we explain which particular file you have to read, you have to crawl, or which particular file you have to not to crawl. In this, we just mention some coded format which instruct your web spider not to crawl which particular page. By default, web spider visit to your website and read all the information of your website. Robots.txt, that is a plain text file, and that follows robots exclusion standard. A robot.txt file consists of one or more rules, and each rule block or allows access of a given crawler to a specified file path in that website. Now, let me explain you some robots exclusion standard. These are the robots exclusion protocols, or simply your robots.txt, which is a standard used by the website to communicate with your web crawler and other web robots. It means how to explain the web robots about which area of the website should not be processed or scanned. Now, what happens if you don't have a robots.txt file? If a robot.txt file is missing, then the search engine crawler assumes that all publicly available pages of the particular website can be crawled and added to their index. Now, what happens if I accidentally block search engine from accessing my website? That's a big problem, because in that case, for starters, they will not crawl and index pages from your website, and gradually they will remove any page that are already available in their index. Now, do you need a robots.txt file? That's a big question in front of us, because if we don't have robots.txt file, then our every information Google search crawler will crawl. Then why we need this particular file? We need to have a robot.txt file even if you don't want to exclude any pages or directory of your website from appearing in the search engine result. Now, why we do that? We have some most common use cases of your robots.txt file, and they are, that is, just to block search engine from accessing specific pages or directory of your website. For example, look at the robot.txt file. We notice that this allow rule. We have two type of rule here. One is your allow, which allow your search engine crawler to crawl that particular link, and next is your disallow. In your disallow rule, here you can mention that particular file path or the page path which you want that your search engine crawler will not crawl. When you have a big website, crawling and indexing can be a very resource intensive process. So crawling from various search engines will be trying to crawl and index your whole website, and this can create a serious performance problem. And when you decide to use your URL clocking for your affiliate link, this is not the same as clocking your content or URL to trick users or search engines, but it's a valid process for making your affiliates link easier to manage. Now, we have two important things to know about your robots.txt file. The first is that any rule you add to your robots.txt are directives only. This means that it's up to search engine to obey and follow that particular rule. In most of the cases, they do, But if you have content that you don't want to be included in their index, The best way is to make it password protected, the particular directory or page. The second thing is that even if you block a page or directory in robots, it can still appear in the same result. And if it has links from other pages that are already indexed. In other words, adding a page to the robots.txt does not guarantee that it will be removed or not appear on the web. So these are the two most important things about your robots.txt file. Now, let's move to the functioning of your robots.txt. How does your robots.txt file work? So the robots file have a very simple structure. There are some predefined keyword or the values combination we can use. See, we have one is your user agent. User agent will specify which crawler should take into account the directory. You can use into reference all the crawler or specific the name of the crawler. Here, if you are using this particular asterisk sign, this is our asterisk sign, which means for all the crawler. For example, if you mention user agent asterisk, it means this particular node is for all the crawler. If you mention their Google bot, it means that these instructions are only for Google bot. The next keyword we have is disallow. In case of disallow, it means that the directory that instruct a user agent. If you mention user agent struct, it means for all crawler. If you mention your user agent as a Google bot, it means for Google bot that not to crawl a URL or path of a website. This is the functioning of disallow. Next we have allow. In case of allow, what we do, the directory that tells explicitly which page or subfolders can be accessed. This is applicable for Googlebot only. And you can use the allow to give access to a specific subfolder on your website even though the parent directory is disallowed. For example, you can disallow access to your photos directory but allow access to your BMW subfolder which is located under photos. This is just an example here. Here you can see that in user agent string means for all crawler, you can disallow this particular photos subfolder and you can allow one particular photo with the help of allow keyword here. Next we have crawl delay. In case of crawl delay, you can simplify a crawl delay value to force search engine crawler to wait for a specific amount of time before crawling the next page from your website. And the value you entered is in milliseconds. So it should be noticed that the crawl delay is not taken into account by Google. Now, the last keyword we have is sitemap. The sitemap directory is spotted by the major search engines, including your Google, and it is used to specify the location of your XML sitemap. XML sitemap, as we all know, XML sitemap, this is a particular file where we mention all the link of our pages just to inform your search engine crawler about the every single link mentioned in your website. Even if you don't specify the location of the XML sitemap in the robots, then the search engine are still able to find out. For example, here you can see this is your domain name, and after your domain name, just put your backslash and mention your sitemap.xml. Now, the question is how to create a robot.txt file. Let me explain you two ways of creating your robot.txt file. One is your manual method of setting your robots.txt file. And the next method, if you are working on your WordPress website, the next method I will explain you with the help of one particular plugin. So creating your robots.txt file is very easy, and all you need is a text editor like your bracket or your notepad you can use, and access to your website's file via FTP or your control panel. And before getting into the process of creating a robots file, the first thing is to do is to check if you already have one. For this, we can simply mention our website name and we can simply put a backslash and mention our robots.txt. And if you see something similar to the one below, that it means that your file is already created and you can add the existing file instead of creating a new one. Now, let me explain you how you can check if your robots.txt file is already created or not. For this, let me explain you with the help of one demo here. See, here how you can check your robots.txt file is already created or not. See, for example, this is my domain name. Put your backslash there and type robots.txt. Press enter. And here you can see that we have some statements like this: your user agent, allow, disallow, and your sitemap. So it means that our file is already created, and what we need to do, we need to simply do editing in this particular file. Next, how to manually create your robots.txt file. So for creating your robots.txt file, you have to simply open your notepad and you have to simply type this statement: user agent, allow, disallow, and you have to simply put which page you will allow, which page you are not allowing. You have to simply put by this way. You have to simply mention your sitemap link there in your robots.txt file. Second, let me explain you with the help of one particular plugin for creating your robots.txt file. Here I am taking help of one of the important plugin which is known as all-in-one SEO. This is your all-in-one SEO. You have to simply download this particular plugin. You have to install that with the help of this plugin section. And in this particular section, what you need to do, you have to simply go to tools section. In this tools section, when you click, then your robots.txt editor is here. In this particular editor, it allows you to set up a robots.txt file for your site, and that will override the default your robots.txt file that WordPress created. And by creating this particular file with the help of this, you have a great control over the instruction you can give to web crawler about your site. So here you can see, you have to simply click on this open robot.txt file preview if your file is already created. If not, then you have to simply click on this enable custom robots.txt file for adding your own role. If you don't want, then you have to simply close that. This is by default your robots.txt file is created. But now if you want to add some custom robots.txt file rules here, you have to simply click on that. Here you have user agent. You first have to select your user agent. If you select this asterisk sign, it means it is for all robots. If you simply type Google bot, it means you can only restrict Google bot here. So this is your user agent. In that case, you have to simply mention your directory path, which page you want to block or which page you want to allow. This is the rule here. You want to allow this or disallow this. For example, for user agent Google bot, now the rule is for disallow, and here you have to mention one path here. For example, WP admin. This is the path we have. You have to simply click on add. After that, you again want to add any other rule. You have to simply click on allow or disallow rule. Select your user agent, type your directory path here, and after that you have to click on save changes. And this will reflect like this: user agent, Google bot, disallow this. So this is how you can create your robots.txt file. Thank you so much for watching this video.